To pretend that you didn't go through something just because you think people might look at you differently, it doesn't make sense to me because, in my experience, you're so much stronger than anyone else around you. My name is Taylor. I entered the foster care system on my 12th birthday, and I'll be aging out this year on my 21st. I entered foster care because my mom was mentally ill and my father signed over all of his parental rights. I originally moved in with my aunt with my mom, and due to some circumstances we ended up in San Jose, and my mom had a mental breakdown, so they put us into a facility, and we went to court on New Year's where we could decide where we were going to live. And so we decided to remain with our aunt, and things kind of progressed, I guess, and my aunt just wasn't fit to take care of us, so we decided to change placement after a few years.
The scholarship program is for foster youth entering college. Not only do they receive $90,000, but they receive emotional support. We have mentors, tutors, internships. When you think winter breaks and holidays, what are they going to do? They have nowhere to go. So we provide them with houses to live in, and they kind of have a special bond within each other. We only picked 10 students a year, so it's very inclusive, and we all form a very tight bond together.
So the goal of foster care is typically permanent adoption or reunification with family. But that doesn't always happen. And the alternative to that is what's called aging out. And it depends on the state. It happens at either 18 or 21. In California, it's 21. So once a student reaches age 21, they're cut off from all support, except for healthcare, which lasts till 26. So they stop having social worker meetings, they stop getting their AB 12 checks, the government is completely out of their lives, and they're sort of on their own.
It has been my experience that is about the 6 months prior to emancipation from foster care, where the young person is all of a sudden in panic mode thinking, oh, in 6 months I'm done here. And as much as they all want to get out of foster care, there's a little bit of security in having this system, because there's somebody you can call. Even if they don't answer the phone, there's somebody you can call. And if they don't answer the phone, there's somebody else you can call. But in 6 months, that all goes away, and it is happy birthday, goodbye. It is not that you get weaned off. It is literally the door shuts at age 18 or 21.
So as soon as I turned 21, I think the court date is actually before my 21st birthday, I disappear. My court case is officially closed, and it's gonna happen at the exact same time as my brother because we're twins, so we have the same birthday.
Taylor is one of the most resilient people I've ever met, and also one of the most caring people I've ever met. She's very emotional, and I think in a good way. She definitely wears her heart on the sleeve. She cares a lot about everybody. She's super empathetic, and it's just refreshing to have her in my program because it's very rare to meet someone who's so in touch with her feelings and cares so much about everybody. When I ask her how her day is going, she asks me how my day is going. It's a very two-sided relationship, and as much as I make sure she's okay, she asks me questions to make sure I'm okay as well. It's just very unique to find a person like that, and to see her succeed so far is pretty awesome.
You crushed it last quarter.
I really did.
It brought your cumulative up like 0.2, which is massive.
Yeah, my GPA went to a 3.6, and that hasn't happened yet, so that was magic.
That was massive. And then it brought your cumulative to above a 3.0, which was your year-end goal.
Yeah. They help financially, but the emotional support is so much more important for a lot of us who maybe don't have that system. I know a few of the kids are still close with their foster parents, but some of us aren't, and so we need it, and they provide it. They're constantly there, and we can text them when we need to, and we have this mentorship going on that helps us with our careers too.
As a young person completely on your own trying to navigate the world, the statistics are pretty dismal. A majority of aging out youth experience homelessness. 1 out of 4, I believe, at age 18. They also, 71% of women experience pregnancy by age 21. Less than 3% graduate college. So the statistics are dismal for these students who are aging out. And it's not the goal of foster care, but some 23,000 some odd students or young people age out every year.
I think that each story is different. My story, my sister's story are different. And we grew up in the same homes. We weren't separated, and our stories are different. And part of what makes your stories different is how you personally experience it and how you deal with it. And so some people might have had less traumatizing things happen and feel a lot worse because that's how they internally perceived it.
That loss, that stays with kids for so long. And I've had adults who are adopted, in their mid-50s come to me and say, I've always felt like a second-class citizen, even though I grew up in a wonderful adoptive family, because my own parents didn't want me.
I never thought that I wouldn't have learned how to drive. Like, people overlook it, my friends overlook it, they're like, why aren't you driving? And my sister kind of got like a little bit when she was living with my aunt, but me and my brother didn't get that, and so I never learned how to drive, and so I don't, and I have like this irrational fear of driving because nobody taught me. And I think that it's frustrating that it's such a need in our society, and I missed out on it because I didn't have a parent. And I think everybody takes that for granted because even if you have one parent, you're still learning how to drive.
Our system is essentially failing young people. No one wants to bring light about that or talk to that. It's easier to ignore the problem. And especially when you have so many young children experiencing abuse throughout the system, or even the 20-some-odd thousand kids that age out all on their own, it's sort of a failure of the government and of us to provide proper care to these children.
People don't understand what foster care really is. Like, they don't understand it. And I realized that when my sorority wanted to have a family day, and one of the girls basically asked me why I didn't bring my social worker to my family day. And so it was just like, okay, hold on, like pause, because a social worker is literally paid to care about you for however long. I've had like 12 social workers, okay? They're getting paid to see you. It's not like your family. And even the family I do have isn't like the family that you have. I couldn't ask my sister to drive 8 hours to hang out for a picnic for my sorority because she's facing the odds too. She has to get her life together too, because if she doesn't, then we're just some fail story. And we can't be that.
Foster care has a bad stereotype and no one really wants to talk about it because, one, they think either I have to be a foster parent to help, or two, that these are bad kids and I don't really want anything to do with them. When in reality, it wasn't their fault. It was their parents' mistakes that put them in the system. And then the system has broken over the years and crumbled and failed them. So we should be talking about it. We should be talking about ways to fix it.
I think that it's more than my personal experience that makes me want to pursue an even higher education than a bachelor's degree. I think it's the fact that I want to overcompensate for my siblings. Not that they're failing, but neither of them pursued like a UC degree. They're getting AAs, and I don't want an AA. I want something better. I want something equal to someone who has both parents. I think it gets scarier the older I get, actually. I don't think it gets better. I think it gets scarier because I have to think who's going to be at my graduation and who's going to dance with me at my wedding, and what kind of family would my kids have at this point? And so as I get older, it gets scarier because family is really important now, but it's also really important when you start having your own. And that scares me. To treat yourself like you're everybody else is really a disservice to yourself because you're stronger and you've been through a lot more.